Another method we can use is the clear method. This one's really straightforward. All it does is just removes all the items in the list. So however many items you had, you call the clear method, you're basically just setting the entire list. So let me give you a quick example for this. So let's say we have the following code. Here we're creating a list of doubles. So we have dlist, and we set it equal to new list of double. We add 5.4 and 7.7 in our list, and then we call the clear method. And what this does is afterwards, dlist is now going to be empty. If you were to try to access elements in the list, it's not going to work because we wiped out all the elements in there. Another method we can use in lists is called the contains method. What this method does is basically search for a specific item. So instead of trying to implement any searching algorithm that you may have seen like in CS 122, for example, you can just call this method on a list and it will tell you whether or not a particular item is in the list. So this method will return true if the specific value does exist in that list, and it's going to return false if that item is not in the list. So let me give you a simple example. So here we have some code. We have int list, which is going to be a list of integers. We see that we're going to add 5 and 7 in our list, and we have two message boxes. So we have int list.contains 5 and int list.contains 1. So our first method is going to search for a 5 in our list, and we see that 5 is going to be in there. It will find it. So the first message box is going to print true. Now the second method call, we're going to search for a 1. We're going to see that 1 does not exist in this list. So that means the second message box is going to print false. The last method we'll look at for now, we'll look at other methods later, is called the insert method. This method is similar to the add method in that we're going to add new elements to our list. The big difference though is we're going to actually choose where we insert the item. If you remember the way the add method works, it's automatically inserted at the end. I think I even mentioned that we cannot choose where to put a particular item using the add method. However, with the insert method, we can choose exactly where we want to put a particular element. The way this method works is we would need two parameters. The first parameter would be the index of where we would want to add that element. So for example, if we wanted to add an element at the very beginning, we would make this parameter 0 to say we want to put it at the first element of our list. So we can choose where we want to do it. The second parameter is going to be the actual item we need to add. This follows the same rule as the add method in that the type of this item has to match the type of the list. Now you might be wondering, well, what if you insert an item into an element that already has something there? Well, in that case, we're just going to shove everything over one place. So for example, if we insert something at index 1 and there's already something at index 1, then the element that was at index 1 gets moved over to index 2. Whatever was at index 2 gets moved over to index 3, and so forth. So think of it as just like opening a gap and then putting the item at that particular spot. Let's do a really quick example just to show you how we would use the insert method. So let's say we have this code right here. This is similar to one of our earlier examples where we have a list of integers. We're going to add 5 and then we're going to add 7. So what this means is at this point, our list here is going to be currently just 5 and then 7. So int list 0 would contain 5, int list 1 would contain 7. Now let's suppose we were to call the insert method. So just like before, we'd have the name of the list, a dot, and then the method. So we have int list dot insert, and then we have 1 as the first parameter and 57 as the second parameter, or I guess I should say argument. But what this means is we're going to add 57 at index 1. But we see that there's already 7 at index 1. So what will happen is the 7 gets moved over to index 2, and then we would put 57 at index 1. This means our list is now going to be 5, 57, and then 7. Let's do one more example just to help make sure we have the hang of this method. So here, we're going to create a list of strings. We're going to call this names, and we see that we're going to call the add method 3 times. We're going to insert, or I guess I should say add the string mic 0, and then we're going to add the string mic 2, and then we're going to add the string mic 3. So what this means is our names list at this point is currently mic 0, mic 2, and then mic 3. Now let's suppose we were to call the insert method, and we're going to add mic 1, or I guess I should say insert mic 1, into index 1. Well, we see here that mic 2 is going to be at index 1. So that means we have to move mic 2 over to index 2. But we also see that mic 3 is at index 2. So that means we're going to move mic 3 over to index 3. Then we can insert mic 1 into index 1. So after doing that, we would see that the names list now has mic 0 at index 0, mic 1 at index 1, mic 2 at index 2, and mic 3 at index 3.